will go head-to-head with Lexi Kilfoyle, who has been phenomenal. 1.15 ERA, one of the best of the Big 12.
And Lexi Kilfoyle started that Friday game one through the entire game, gave up just one earned run and had 7 strikeouts. So she's back again on her senior day. She's going to mix a fastball, drop ball, curveball, and an off-speed pitch. She throws in the mid to upper 60s, pounds the zone, and hits her spots extremely well. 106
strikeouts, only 25 walks issued on the year, and she is out quickly ahead of the left fielder Limbaugh. 0-2, and we are underway with Game 3. Doubleheader on Friday. Particularly dangerous weather potential yesterday on Saturday, so they took yesterday off, as we mentioned in the open, and resumed the series here this afternoon. As you see, Limbaugh out of Cooper, Texas, batting .364 on the season. It is senior day. Cowgirls, many contributing seniors to this team in their final regular season home matchup, and expected today to get numbers from the attendance that will be an all-time season attendance through the regular season in Cowgirl history. As another good crowd here today, and it has been a terrific home season for the Cowgirls. That one is hit. A little bit of trouble, and you heard Jillian Pollard call off the shortstop Bloodworth, but she couldn't get there, and that allows Limbaugh to run all the way around first, and she's in there safely into second.
And Lexi Kilfoyle, great job on that pitch, using her off-speed, getting an easy pop-up. And Megan Bloodworth was playing in, but I definitely think she had a good, she was in a good position to catch that ball. I'm not sure why Pollard called her off.
You could hear her yelling ball, and then Bloodworth does peel off of it, as that was hit right back up the middle as well, and that puts runners on the corners, and they score for Kansas. So the runner at third advances. Linda, the right fielder, advances to second on the throw, so she's got an RBI single. And just like that, Kansas has a 1-0 lead.
Great start for Kansas here in this game, and Linda just taking that pitch right back up the middle, and the good speed by Limbaugh able to...
one pitch where the Cowgirls could have had an out in foul territory. Texas Tech could have recorded an out, and it would have been the end of the inning. Instead, the next pitch was a 3-run home run. One pitch, one play, puts a Jayhawk safely at second in scoring position. Otherwise, that's just a single, and it's not a big deal, but instead it scores a run, and it's a good start for, as you mentioned, for Kansas in the ballgame. Amazing how one little thing could trickle and have such a big effect.
Exactly, and it makes a huge difference for Kansas to be able to capitalize on the mistakes of the Oklahoma State defense, because they don't make many, but when they do, if they can capitalize on those and put some runs on the board, they're going to be in good shape.
And the play before, again, with the Cowgirls Bloodworth, that wind is blowing in, so it was starting to set up, and she was close to being underneath it. Pollard was having to race in because it was setting up further away from her. And I think she thought she had it but couldn't get there. And then that one is going to go into left field, and they will hold the runners at first and third. And now the Cowgirls will run Lyric Moore back. So another single, 3 hits, and runners in the corners, nobody out. 1-0 Kansas, and not the start that Oklahoma State certainly wanted, but a great start for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, Kansas coming into this game looking ready to swing the bat. They're being aggressive, and they're piecing some hits together early on. That's exactly what they're going to have to do against Lexi Kilfoyle.
Got to find that spot sometimes. You hit it hard, those outfielders will run it down. You hit it too soft in the infield, this infield is good enough to get it and flip it and throw you out. But every now and then that soft hit just over the third base, or that soft hit just over shortstop into no man's land, and that's what they've done so far. And those 3 hits have produced a run, runners on the corners, and now Haley Kripe, the shortstop, has her opportunities. Down 0-1 here after fouling that one off. That one off the plate, 1-1. The battery, actually all the way from start to finish up the middle, is senior led by the Cowgirls. Caroline Wong behind the plate. Senior Lexi Kilfoyle in the circle, and Jillian Pollard in center field. Cowgirls young elsewhere in the infield. They do have Scotland David out there in left field, another one of those seniors. We'll talk more about them coming up. 2-1 here to Kripe. Ball just barely misses, and the count goes to 3-1. Three-1 is hit, and it is fielded by Edwards, able to make the throw. So the runner will advance from first to second. Moore is at second, and now runners at second and third, but one gone as she grounds out to third here.
And that's a great play by Talon Edwards, moving towards the line, able to get on her knees and knock that ball down, prevent that ball from getting down the line, because if that ball...
Job right there, and that brings up Olivia Bruno, the designated player in batting practice here prior to the ball game. She was launching them over the center field wall. Wind blowing out, that kind of a day. Shows bunt, pulls back, and that one misses just off the plate. 1-1 the count to Bruno. See the flag there. Looks like that's a little bit misconceiving there because it has been blowing stiffly out. Just kind of draped there right now, but it is definitely an outward blowing wind. That one is hit right back to Talon Edwards, and she caught that off the turf. Another terrific play by the third baseman for Oklahoma State.
Talon Edwards is showing her glove early in this game. That's a great catch. Able to get it in the air and not even have to throw it all the way to spin out her pitcher, Lexi Kilfoyle, right now.
Just barely off her shoelaces, but she was able to get that and take care of it as that brings up Campbell Bagshaw, four-year letter winner back in high school, both basketball and softball, majoring in marketing. Trying to help her team out right here with runners at second and third, two in scoring position. Can open things up. Kansas had a 5-0 lead in game two, couldn't hold on. Early lead here. Cowgirls have been phenomenal at scoring first all season long, but Kansas draws first blood here.
And they scored first in those other two games as well on Friday and kind of just got their bats going early in this game, but Lexi Kilfoyle able to shut them down a little bit.
Rosie Davis fields it, throws it, and the Cowgirls give up one, but they're out of trouble in the top of the first. We go to the home map. The Cowgirls to the bats as we play with Ballard, Edwards, Wong, Godwin, who has been outstanding, number one in the Big 12 with home runs, only double-digit home run getter as a freshman. Rosie Davis, Claire Tim, who's batting .331, 2 for 5 in this series, followed by the designated player Wart. Scotland David, the senior, will get the start in left field, and shortstop Megan Bloodworth. And for the Kansas Jayhawks in the circle, you mentioned these couple of aces. Well, Casey Hamilton definitely is an ace for Kansas.
Yeah, Casey Hamilton does have the most innings on this Kansas pitching staff. The only time Oklahoma State has seen her so far, though, was in game two. She came in and threw 1 1/3 innings, had 2 strikeouts in that outing. And so she's going to mix it up, coming from the left side, throw up in the zone with her rise and her curve. She also has a very effective off speed, which comes in the low 50s.
Moss Bluff, Louisiana senior Jillian Pillard, the center fielder, leads things off for Oklahoma State behind 0-1 here. Bluff, now that would foul on the bunt, and 0-2. Talk about that lefty. Again, you see left-handed softball pitchers. It's not as common as maybe we see in baseball, but how difficult is it coming from the other side as a batter?
It's tough, especially as a lefty hitter. You know, when you face a lefty, most of their balls spin away from you, and that's always tough to hit. You just really have to try to let the ball get deep and really just protect that outer corner of the plate, because these lefties like Hamilton, her ball breaks so much from left to right, so it's really tough to determine which pitches are going to curve out of the zone and which ones are going to hit the end of the strike zone on that outside corner.
Cowgirls had completed the comeback, led 6-5 before Kansas made that switch in the circle. As you mentioned, Hamilton came in relief in game two as Pillard will ground out to Tatum here to start things off at the bottom of the first. Ludwig went 4 2/3. Cowgirls came back, got the 6-5 lead. Hamilton came in and shut things down for Oklahoma State. Pitched 1 1/3, gave up no hits, no runs. But the Cowgirls at that point had already secured enough hits and runs to win game 2, 6-5. So the doubleheader belonged to Oklahoma State on Friday. Did not play on Saturday. Game 3 here in Stillwater, and Talon Edwards, the third baseman, will get her opportunity right here. You mentioned 17 tornadoes in Oklahoma reported, and they're still counting. Amazing devastation, certainly down south in Sulphur and many parts of the state of Oklahoma, and certainly wish them the absolute best in trying to recover from just a crazy day. A PDS, potentially dangerous situation, and when meteorologists who across the entire state saved a lot of lives with the reporting on Saturday, when they say that, and they know they may miss a lot of weather events, but when they say we know they're going to be tornadoes, they know, and they don't miss on that. And again, tremendous coverage all across the entire state. As Talon Edwards jumps ahead here 3-0. Hamilton leans in, and 3-0 is in there for a strike. Edwards taking all the way on that one. Kansas started with 3 hits at the top of the first, able to score 1. So an early lead here for them, but as you mentioned, that's been their MO so far. They've been able to jump out early on Oklahoma State in this series. Ball 4, Talon Edwards becomes the first base runner for Oklahoma State this afternoon.
And what's been so impressive for me in this series is just showing how aggressive Kansas has been off the bat in these games. They're coming up to the plate, swinging hard and getting some things going, but the response by Oklahoma State has just been outstanding this whole series. They haven't gotten down on themselves and thought that they were out of the game one single time.
Yeah, this team, I mentioned, they've scored first in most of the games this season. But knowing you're never out of a game, even at 5-0, they've come from a 5-run deficit twice this season and have been able to win. And when you can win in multiple ways, that's when, a team starts feeling really good about itself, knowing you're never out of a ball game.
Exactly, especially without Coach G in the dugout. Coach Shippey had to take over.
We hadn't mentioned that yet. Game 2 included just the 3rd ejection ever of head coach Kenny Gajewski as the skipper of Oklahoma State, and he was not happy with some things, and he got to watch from the clubhouse the rest of the way after that one. But Coach Shippey did a good job, and the Cowgirls responded.
Yeah, I think that fired them up a little bit, kind of got them some energy, got them going, and motivated them a little bit to get back in the game.
Do you ever remember one of your head coaches getting tossed and what that did for you?
No, I've actually never seen a head coach on my team get tossed before. That is a first for me. I was kind of shocked up here. I don't even know if I was talking. I was just trying to watch it all unfold.
There's another one of those no-man lands hitter for the Cowgirls this time, though, as Caroline Wong just hit it over the second baseman in front of center and right field, and it landed gently and safely for the single.
A good job by Caroline Wong on the outside corner, kind of just throwing her bat out there, not trying to do too much, trying to just put them really in this game.
So the Cowgirls have runners at first and second, one gone, and the ever so dangerous Carly Godwin. It's senior day, but she has been so good, and she's coming up. And right there, it's probably a good time for a little infield visit. Get Casey Hamilton a little bit of a chance to kind of reset. Catcher comes out. Moore says a few things. Make sure everybody's reset defensively, know what they're doing, and let Hamilton have a little chance to kind of regather herself, as there's that freshman we were just talking about.
As a pitcher, you just need to be so precise when facing hitters like Caroline Wong and Carly Godwin, and Rosie Davis is going to come up after Godwin, because if you leave anything over the plate for them, they're just going to absolutely crush it.
Carly Godwin has been phenomenal as that one skips in and hits well in front of her. So that drop ball is dropping way too early right now. You know, mentioned Carly Godwin in the Big 12. She leads with home runs. In fact, she's the only freshman with double-digit home runs in the Big 12 this season. And a big cut there comes up. Empty on the swing, and the count evens at 1-1 with one gone. Runners at first and second. Godwin batting .333 on the season, .329 with runners on, .349 with runners in scoring position. Off the plate, 2-1. And if you're Hamilton right here, it's an awkward situation, right? You mentioned Rosie Davis right there behind her. You don't want to walk the bases full, but you also cannot let Carly Godwin have, as we've got a palm of some sort out there in center field that fell over the wall, and they will have to get that back. And nice job by Price to go over there and pick that up, and a little bit of a ovation for her from the crowd.
Yeah, in this situation, just Kansas has been pretty successful holding off Carly Godwin until on Friday when they gave her something on the inner half of the plate. She was able to turn on it and get that 3 RBI double. But other than that, Kansas has been sticking to the outside half of the plate on Carly Godwin, and Hamilton there using probably a backdoor curveball in the outside corner, and just that's what they're going to have to do if they want to try to keep Carly Godwin off the bases.
There you go, and certainly want to do that. 2-2. Here we go. Low and away again. Got to be careful, see if she's chasing, but she's been very disciplined, at least with this at bat, and the count goes full. You know, the opposite is true for these batters, right? Everything's going to break in on the right-handed batter, right? So it's still a little different seeing that from the left-handed pitcher in Hamilton. You were a lefty, so they were running away from you. For these right-handers, all of a sudden everything's coming in as that one's fouled back out of play. Going to see a left-hander in the circle probably next weekend with Oklahoma State, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely sure that they will, and I think it's good for them to have these back-to-back lefties in Hamilton, and next week with Kelly Maxwell. Just to have this exposure with Hamilton early is probably going to help them next weekend, I'm assuming.
I would assume as well, and fake tag as that is caught by Price, makes the throw to Flanagan at third, and Edwards acted as if she was going to tag, forced the throw, but comes back to second, and we've got two gone with Rosie Davis up next for Oklahoma State. Nice job out there by Price and company.
A huge out there for Hamilton. That was a great at-bat. She just grinded through that, kept pounding the zone, wasn't going to let her get on easy with a free pass, and ends up winning that at-bat. So good job by Hamilton.
First pitch to Davis is a called ball out of Readyville, Tennessee. Just a freshman. Davis batting .346 on the season. .548 with runners in scoring position. That is absolutely amazing. And that one is hit high, drifting, and coming on is the left fielder. Catching it in foul territory. Limbaugh is able to get underneath it for out number 3. The Cowgirls strand a walk and a single. Whether you came here for a year, 2 years, or you've been here your entire career, senior day is always a very special time for any player.
Yeah, super emotional, and it's just one of the most memorable games of my career. It was just an awesome moment to be out here and to be honored in front of all your family and your teammates. It just means so much.
Quick swing for Tatum, right back to Lexi Kilfoyle. Makes the throw to first, and out one here in the top of the second. Good start for Lexi Kilfoyle here in the top of the second. And I don't know if you necessarily are going to remember everything you did in the game, right? And how probably remember the result, but it's one of those. It's your final time. And again, in the regular season, the Cowgirls will play more here inside Cowgirl Stadium with a regional, potentially a super regional, as we see Flanagan, the freshman. But it's one of those, your career is coming to an end, so you start to absorb those moments, I would think, a lot more.
Exactly. It's just so hard, just being with your teammates and all the friendships that you make when you play on the same team as all these girls and just knowing how much of an impact the coaches and the staff and every single person at Oklahoma State makes on your experience, and just reflecting on all of that, it just makes it all come back, and just an awesome time, but also, like you said, very sad because you know your days are winding down.
September Flanagan 1-2. You know, you played with this team last year. You're on the staff as a GA. You're graduating this year, and you took the time to go down and make sure you got a chance to celebrate those seniors as well, as Flanagan strikes out, becomes the first strikeout of the ballgame. But even you went down and wanted to be a part of that, right? Because it is such a special time for the entire organization as we see this strikeout.
Yeah, September Flanagan, I think, just kind of gets fooled by this pitch. Like Skivo just attacking her command zone, getting a strikeout. But like you said, I wanted to be down there and be with them, and I've been alongside them this whole year. So just being down there, you know, it made me super emotional, and seeing all the parents and all the families. Oklahoma State is just so close, and to be there by everybody in that moment, it was amazing.
Kansas will experience that next weekend when they host BYU for their final regular season matchup, and they too will have their senior day and honor Casey Hamilton and many of the other fantastic seniors. What a year they're having. One of the best win totals they've had in a long time, starting to find themselves in at-large conversation, and still got some work to do, but this is a team right now that is, I mean, you look at Coach McFalls, they put together a tremendous season, and they've struggled a little bit here in Stillwater, but they've got some opportunities to find themselves in the NCAA tournament for the first time in quite some time. There's a little check swing foul. Strike two, a 2-2 count here to Angela Price, the center fielder, batting ninth today for Coach McFalls. This is a Kansas team, though, they have been really good. They have wins over A&M. And there's strike three. So we'll tell you more about their season, but the resume is short here in the second. 2 strikeouts. Again, they have been very aggressive early, as you've mentioned.
Yeah, the Jayhawks have been jumping on Oklahoma State, and it seems like as these games go on and on, they kind of just falter off a little bit in the later innings, and they really just need to stay aggressive, I think, in those back few innings, like 4, 5, 6, 7, and keep taking good hacks and just keep pushing through offensively.
Claire Tim out of Buena Park, California, trying to get the Cowgirls going offensively. Batting sixth, the right fielder for the Cowgirls, facing Casey Hamilton in the circle. This Kansas team is, again, as that one is foul off of Tim. It's foul, and count will go to 2-1. This is a Kansas team that, with their RPI, their record, the way they play, they are very much an at-large team. They have not been to the NCAA tournament since 2015. They've been there 12 times. They went back-to-back in 14 and 15. So it's been nearly 10 years since they made an appearance, and this team is trying to make that happen, and doing so with 8 seniors on this team. It's a team that has just been playing really well. I think they kind of hit a little bit of a wall against Texas Tech, and they went down to Lubbock, and we talked about that. Texas Tech was the Cowgirl opponent last week. In Game 2 between Texas Tech and Kansas, there were 36 hits. And Kansas beat Texas Tech 15-12 in that ball game, but they've kind of struggled here in the close games late, trying to score first and hang on in Stillwater for Game 3 here. Beat the number 4 team in the country. You really continue to help that resume getting to the NCAA tournament. But you know, you've seen this team. I did not get a chance to see Games 1 and 2, but this is a team's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, and they have a ton of fight, and we've talked about their improvement a lot over the past. On Friday, we talked about how in 2022 they only won 3 conference games. 2023 they got up to 5, and this year they're already up to 11 conference wins, and that's a huge credit to the seniors on this team, just continuously developing Coach McFalls, getting them ready to play year after year, and they're showing out having a really good season for their senior year.
Player Tim lined out to center field. That'll bring up the designated player, Michaela Wark, but they have done that. And again, 8 seniors, 4 juniors, 7 sophomore, 4 freshmen on the team. It's a team that's got a couple of Oklahoma kids, 6 Kansas kids, 5 from Texas, a couple from Arkansas, a couple from California, but they go out to Oregon, Indiana, Arizona, Illinois, Missouri. Coach McFalls has been recruiting all across the country, trying to find those talented individuals that can help them get to the next level. And again, big leap in the right direction this season as the count 1-1 to Wark. You know, part of that has to do with her staff as well. Former head coach of the Cowgirls in Rich Willigman. Coach Wiggs is on that staff. Got a chance to talk to him earlier today. Still remains a friend. And Coach Wiggs is he's one of those funny guys. Now, here's the thing. He said, hey, be nice to us up there today. But that came immediately after he told me I was looking old. I don't know how kind I want to be when I've been told I look old by one of the assistant coaches. But no, Coach McFalls has surrounded herself with really good coaches. And part of the reason why, you know, that just being loyal and staying with it, and it's starting to pay off for this team. Big cut by Wark. Now, same is true on the other side, right? With Coach Kenny G. Now, it's a young staff, but he surrounded himself with a good staff, and it's part of the reason why they've continued to be so good, and now, once again, one of the top 5 teams in the country.
And they've been so good despite having a new pitching coach and Carrie Eberly coming in this season, and a new hitting coach with Coach Shippy Fletcher coming in this season as well. Just to have all of that change and the girls on the team still being so good, and just all that leadership shift is kind of difficult, but all the girls have been buying in so well, and just the new coaches have been doing an amazing job with this team.
2-2 count here to Michaela Wark. And Chris Real Deal just handed me a graph that would have taken me at least 6 months to construct. Oh, my goodness. 0-5 versus Oklahoma State is Hamilton. Has pitched 37 2/3 innings against the Cowgirls and have given up 51 hits to Oklahoma State. But she's pitching well so far as Michaela Wark strikes out, and she's only given up 1 hit so far today and setting down the last couple of batters here.
Yeah, Hamilton, another long at-bat here, and just going down in the zone, getting Michaela Wark to fish for that one. Great job by her and keep the ball. Like, she's not letting these Oklahoma State hitters get on base with free passes yet, and that's something that we saw on Friday a lot with this Kansas pitching staff. They had so many walks in those games, and you can't give anything to Oklahoma State.
In 9 previous games against Oklahoma State, Hamilton has produced 23 strikeouts. She's already got a couple here today. She had 2 on Friday, so she's got 4 of those 23 this weekend, as we see one of the true heroes on this team is Scotland David. The left fielder has undergone 4 reconstructive knee surgeries, and she flies that one into right field, and Linda is able to get underneath that for out number 3. So the Cowgirls go down in order here in the bottom of the foil, and Ivy Rosenberry and Kyra Aycock doing what they're doing in the circle. It's a pretty good formula.
And this is what the Cowgirls needed. They had a couple of really tough losses against Iowa State, and where their offense just didn't show up. But ever since that final game to Iowa State, the offense has been so good, and just getting a ton of runs, getting these pitchers the insurance that they need, and just winning games. And that's what they need if they want to secure a really high seed going into postseason. Cowgirls,
in fact, in this series, lead 90-53, 31-13 in Stillwater. Kenny Gajewski has only lost 2 times his entire time in Stillwater to Kansas. And looking again at the numbers Chris Deal provided us, but the Cowgirls in 22, they had kids that had faced Casey Hamilton. But if you look at the Cowgirls roster, last year and this year, not a single kid left from that 22 season. So a lot of newness for Oklahoma State, a lot of greatness for Oklahoma State. Talon Edwards backhands it, throws it across the diamond from one knee, and the Cowgirls record another out. What a job Talon Edwards is having today.
Talon Edwards flashing the glove on this play, going to her backhand side again, and turning and making the tough throw, getting a really good runner. And it's an incredible play.
They beat the speed over there, and Limbaugh had the double and scored her first time up. Actually, Edwards able to get off that knee. I thought she was still down on that knee when she made the throw. As Linda, 1 for 1. She's the one that had the RBI single, which gave Kansas that 1-run lead. But still, you mentioned the backhand. She's moved very well at third so far here today. Talon Edwards continues to be impressive as that one is flied into right field. And Tim will call off Rosie Davis and make the catch for out 2. So that is now 8 consecutive batters that Lexi Kilfoyle has sat down. She gave up the double, the single, and has set down 8 consecutive since then. She is starting to settle in the circle with only 36 pitches here in the third. There's a bunt. Talon Edwards, throw in time. Beats Moore, the catcher who had the single. She will be 0 for 1 now. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, we're through the top half of the third. This is a lot. Their strength of schedule is outstanding at 31. And again, you're looking at some teams right here. They're trying to find a way to make sure that they're getting an at-large bid. A lot of work still left to be done and things decided in that whole lineup.
Looks like Kansas is kind of right on that bubble line of getting an at-large bid, and so a win today, if they could steal a game from Oklahoma State, who's obviously up there, I think they're at 12 right now, that would be huge for them going into the postseason selection process.
And for Oklahoma State trying to secure a national seed, not just a home regional side, but be a national seed that would host not only a regional, but if you advance from that, also the super regional. As Megan Bloodworth, the 9 batter of the lineup for the Cowgirls, the junior out of Cordell, Georgia, batting 198. All right, so some nuggets here for us. All right, first is this. I mentioned this before. Since 22, the last time these two teams are, since 22 when they faced, an entirely new roster lineup for Oklahoma State. In that game were young ladies by the name of Brianna Evans, Cheyenne Factor, Caitlin Carwile, Miranda Ellish, the Buzz Bomb, Haley Busby, Taylor Tuck, Sydney Pennington, Carly Petty, Chelsea Alexander. It's amazing. As different as it is, though, 2 years later, the results aren't any different.
Exactly. It doesn't matter with Coach G. He's just constantly reloading his teams every single year, whether it's developing younger kids, bringing in transfers, and just any way that he does it, his teams come out and compete, and they're very successful.
Mentioned he's 22-2 all-time against Kansas. The last time Kansas beat Oklahoma State was a year ago in the Big 12 tournament. Somebody had a really good day by the name of Rachel Becker. She went 3 for 4 with an RBI, but the Cowgirls lost that ball game 8-7. And I think you remember that ball game based on your shrug when we relived that box score.
Oh yeah, that was a tough one for us, and a weird game too because we started it. And then we got rained out, had to come back the next day,
right. Yep.
Finish it,
Yep.
and just obviously Kansas got the better of us that day. It was a great game, but a tough one for me to look back on.
Kansas scored 4 in the top of the 7th to win that one, and Casey Hamilton showing some emotion in the circle as she gets another strikeout, her second of the ball game on Bloodworth.
Hamilton is dealing in this game so far, keeping that ball on the outer part of the plate. Not even in the strike zone, but getting Megan Bloodworth to swing through that pitch. She's having a really good outing so far.
Casey Hamilton is 0-5 versus Oklahoma State. He's given up 36 runs, 31 of which were earned. 22 walks, only 23 strikeouts coming in. So, I mean, you think as a senior on the road, a chance to help your team beat the number 4 team in the country, you've got a 1-0 lead, that she's not feeling it and loving what's going on right now. She's trying to get this first win against Oklahoma State, and, man, it would be a big one for the Jayhawks. 1-0, though, Kansas. They are still very much in the striking distance for this very high, potent offense of Oklahoma State as Jillian Pillard rounded out to second her first time up. Got 4 home runs on the season. Back to the top of the order for Oklahoma State. Another one of those seniors for Oklahoma State. Cowgirls have 5 senior players, honored a couple of senior managers today as well. Kansas trying to spoil senior day for Oklahoma State. That went on the inside and called strike, 2-2.
Love that pitch from Hamilton. That's so tough to hit as a lefty because in the box, that ball looks like it's going to hit you right on the hip, and then it just breaks right back over the plate, and she gets it for a strike. That's so tough as a hitter.
So 2-2, Pillard's got to protect, and she hits that one, drives it into center field. It's deep, and it's over the wall! Sound the horn! Price elevated, got to it, and it ticks off her glove over the wall, and the Cowgirls have tied it up 1 apiece, and let's hope Price is all right as she collided with the wall. Drove that for her 5th home run of the season.
Poulard just crushes this ball to dead center, and Price, I thought she had it there for a second, but she smacked the wall.
Seems to be okay. She jogs to Coach McFalls and to the trainer, and obviously a little bit of pain. And you know, the other part of that is if she doesn't glove it, it looks like it's going to hit the top of the wall and come back. But because she did glove it, it ticked over the wall. And again, we talk about football being a game of inches. We talked about what happened in the first inning. One play leads to another, and she looks like she's all right, and she's smiling a little bit. Obviously, some few tears from the pain, but Coach McFalls has her smiling. But it's amazing how close a game can be.
Yeah, she was so close to bringing that one back down, but a really great effort. That ball just it was so high up, it kind of just kept carrying and carrying, and the wind, I'm sure, helped it a little bit. Just barely getting it to the top of that wall.
And my assessment may change a little bit based on that review or that replay, but it might have ticked off the top of the wall, but it was going to be right there 50-50, but off of her glove, it definitely found its way over. The Cowgirls have tied it up with the home run, and the Cowgirls and the Jayhawks tied here in the bottom of the first. 1 out. Now, as a pitcher, you have pitched really well. That very easily could have been, not easily, that just as much an out as it was a home run. How does Hamilton regroup here?
Hamilton just needs to keep pounding the zone like she has been, using her stuff. She's gotten Oklahoma State to swing out of the zone quite a few times, just spinning the ball a lot and just responding back quickly. She's thrown a great game so far besides that one pitch, and that was so close to being an out for her. So you can't get down on yourself, just got to keep attacking these batters.
Trying to attack Talon Edwards here, who walked her first time up, and that pitch was way off the mark. Batting .312, she's got 5 home runs of her own. Now, along with Jillian, who just hit that 5th home run. Talon Edwards batting .312 on the season. And takes ball 2. 39 hits on the season for Edwards off of 125 at-bats. It's only struck out 11 times all year long. Well, less than 10% of the time. 7 doubles and 1 triple on the season. 9 stolen bases. Takes the change up and way out front here, 3-1 as a 3-1 count. Now, what are you thinking as the hitter?
Definitely looking for something in the heart of the zone, something that you can drive. Against Hamilton, you know, she does have a really good off-speed pitch, so probably not going to want to swing at that if she comes in with the off-speed, but she's looking for something over the heart of the plate.
And she delivered it, and it's fouled. And it is dropped. Again, our vantage point there a little bit skewed because of the dugout, but I think she had a chance at it. I'm not sure if it got out of play. Either way, the count goes full, and Edwards stays alive here. Entertaining ball game so far. 5 hits between the two teams. Great start at the top of the first by Kansas. Home run by the Cowgirls and a 3-2 pitch to the chagrin of the KU faithful. Off the plate, ball 4.
As I was talking about earlier, that curve that just works away from lefties, that's such a tough pitch to take. And you never want to leave it up to the umpire when it's that close. But Talon Edwards obviously getting the ball on that one. Good eye by her. Able to kind of get something else going after that home run. Keep the momentum for Oklahoma State.
So the Cowgirls keep it going here. One gone, and Caroline Wong, the catcher, had the single. Just a soft little hit over the second baseman out there, Tatum, and in front of Linduff, the right fielder, in front of Price, the center fielder. Just found that open space between that triangle to go 1 for 1 today. The 0-1. Caroline Wong not going to chase that one off the plate. 1-1. What an addition she's been for Oklahoma State this season, huh?
Yeah, like she just seems like the puzzle piece that Oklahoma State really needed this year, especially with so many veterans leaving the team last year. They needed somebody like Caroline Wong who has so much experience under her belt. She's been such a leader for the pitching staff and the hitters, and everyone, it seems like, just looks up to her, and she's come out here and had a great season.
Taylor Tuck, the senior a year ago, graduated. They had Schneidmiller coming in. Needed some veteran leadership there at that catcher position, and Caroline Wong has been every bit of that. The transfer out of Liberty started 200-plus games there and came right in, fit in, and has been an instrumental part of the success of the Cowgirls. And back to that 3-1, and boy, I tell you what, if you're looking at the heart of the plate right here with Caroline Wong, this thing can get turned around in a hurry. And it was pretty much down the heart of the plate and maybe just on the outer third a little bit, but she drives it foul down the right field side, and the count back to 3-2. Godwin and Davis due up, which makes it so hard to pitch around to Caroline Wong. Three-2, ball 4. You got to be careful, but walking runners is never a good thing.
Yeah, Casey Hamilton started off this game so strong, and just the couple of walks after the home run, not really the response that you need out of your pitcher in the circle, but I mean, they're still in a good position here.
Maybe a pitching change? Is that what is about to happen? There is going to be a change. So they will make a pitching change. So Casey Hamilton will finish this game still with no win against Oklahoma State. 1-1. We'll talk about the new pitcher on the year. And she has been impressive as an Oklahoma State Cowgirl. She has produced big hits. You know, it's one thing to produce hits in a non-conference game or in a game that you're winning. She's had big hits in clutch situations. She's been the complete package as a freshman.
As a freshman, to come into and be put in those pressure situations, as a hitter, sometimes when you step up to the plate, you get those nerves, you get a little bit uneasy. Sometimes you start swinging out of your shoes, speeding yourself up a little bit. And for her to be so calm and composed as a freshman in those huge moments, like game 2 on Friday, she had 3 RBIs in the 5th to put Oklahoma State up. For her to be able to do that just as a freshman is just so scary, because she's going to be so good in her future as well.
Broke the all-time record for freshmen with home runs in Oklahoma State history, surpassing her teammate Michaela Wark, who did it a year ago. And she comes out swinging, and ahead of that one, fouls it down the third base side. Kenny Gajewski wearing that one as he tried to field it over there in the corner. See again, Carly 0 for 1 with that fly out. Cowgirls looking for their third hit of the game, and it would be one that would most likely give them the lead for the first time in this game. Kansas is taking the lead in all three, but did not hang on in either game one or game two. The game tied up here, so haven't held on to the lead here. Going to need some more offense. Lexi Kilfoyle settling in for the Cowgirls on that side. DeRoche trying to settle in here and get the Cowgirls off kilter, but falls behind 2-1 to Godwin.
And as a hitter, it's so tough when you faced a pitcher who has just used her rise ball and curve ball, and then all of a sudden they switch it up to a drop ball pitcher that changes your entire approach. You're going to want to make sure that the pitcher is bringing the ball up above your knees, bringing it into the strike zone, and try to get a little bit lower in your stance and try to get under the ball a little bit, as opposed to the entire first 3 innings where they were trying to get on top of the ball and hit ground balls.
Another walk here, and you know, in game two, they intentionally walked Wong to get to Godwin, and she came through with that double, that 3 RBI double, which you were talking about a minute ago. And so they didn't intentionally walk Godwin, but now they've got Davis, and the Cowgirls struck out with blood work to start this inning. Pollard had the home run, and now 3 straight walks with 1 out. And Rosie Davis takes a strike to get things going here. Davis on the season, 7 home runs, been there for a little while. .531 with runners in scoring position. She has been phenomenal this season.
Yeah, just so clutch. Another freshman who just has continuously come through in key high-pressure situations. It's just so impressive to me to see those numbers like that.
17 of 32 with runners in scoring position. That's another clutch hitting freshman for sure. There's the off speed, and a 2-1 count here to Rosie Davis. She's got the power to flip it, but she has done such a great job of just putting it in play and driving in runs and getting that done. 28 RBI on the year. Looking for more here in the Cowgirls' first lead. Swung on, popped up, center field, Price coming on, and too shallow to tag up. It is. They fake it, and it would have been a run for the Cowgirls, but probably the wise decision to hold up there, because the only reason it would have scored runs because Moore couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah, great backup there by the pitcher, DeRoche. Honestly, I didn't even see her back there, and I was waiting to like watch the ball just go all the way to the backstop and have Talon Edwards score, but DeRoche just being there and getting that backup was key to preventing a run in that situation.
Great job for sure, and 2 gone now with the bases loaded for Claire Tim. Check swing, foul off the glove of Moore. And everybody stays at home with an 0-1 count to the right fielder. Flew out. Center field, her first time up. In the wind a little less now. That sun starts to come out here in Stillwater. There's a called strike. So a check swing. Called strike, and Tim behind 0-2 here. DeRoche trying to get settled in here.
DeRoche could get out of this situation, bases loaded with 1 out. That's going to provide the Kansas offense a ton of momentum heading into the top of the 4th.
0-2 is always a throwaway pitch, seemingly. And good job there by Tim to stay away from it. 1-2 the count. Little early drama at Cowgirl Stadium in Stillwater. Here's the 1-2. It's a grand slam. Sound the horn. Oklahoma State leads it by 4 off the home run of Claire Tim. That is a big-time piece of hitting by Claire Tim. take another look at this one as there's another souvenir out there as Claire Tim just drove this one hard into right field.
Yeah, this pitch by DeRoche just on the inner half, and Claire Tim opens up, gets her barrel to that pitch, 2 outs.
Last Grand Slam the Cowgirls had was Lexi McDonald against Houston just a few weeks ago, but that was a huge one there, and DeRoche was one pitch away from starting to settle in and feel great about her time out of the bullpen. But Claire Tim, home run, grand slam, makes this a 5-1 game, and all of a sudden things look a lot different for Oklahoma State here. Now you've got Michaela Wark, who struck out her first time up. She's 0 for 1 with 8 home runs. Power all the way up and down the lineup for Oklahoma State. She hit that one into right. Lindiff underneath it, but 1 out too late for Kansas. Perfect timing for Oklahoma State. A grand slam.
Talon Edwards has been clutch for the Oklahoma State defense, just doing it all, going to her backhand side. There you can see charging in, throwing out Lyric Moore on the bunt, and just saving runs for the Cowgirls.
She has been very, very good so far, and Lexi Kilfoyle gave up a double, a single, the second single being an RBI single. That's how Kansas got their run in the top of the first inning. But since then, she has set down 9 consecutive batters, including a couple of strikeouts. And she's ahead, ahead here in the count to Haley Kripe, the shortstop, 0-2, or 0-1, excuse me, and the count is 0-2. She's 0 for 1 on the day. Lexi Kilfoyle has really started to sink in her cleats right here. That one is hit to Davis. Make it 10 in a row.
Yeah, we talked about that on Friday. The same thing kind of happened. Kansas jumped on Lexi Kilfoyle a bit. We had a few miscues in that game with the Oklahoma State defense, kind of similar to the first inning in this game. And then ever since then, just lights out. She just gets better and better and better as the game goes on.
Olivia Bruno, the designated player, lined out to third her first time up. It was a great one of those plays we saw by Talon Edwards just off her shoe tops and able to make that play. She's 0 for 1. And to mention this, you and I were watching her in batting practice prior to the ball game. There was a little bit of a wind assist, but she didn't need it. She was blasting them over that center field wall. Got tremendous power. And she falls behind here, though, 0-2. Bruno only has 3 home runs on the season, but she's got power. Didn't show it there as Rosie Davis gets another put out over to first. And that's what's happening right now is the commitment to the swing is not there, and we're seeing a lot of soft hits back to defenders for Oklahoma State.
Exactly, and credit to Lexi Kilfoyle's drop ball. That is her best pitch. She is so good with that pitch. She places it perfectly on the outer corners and the inner corner of the plate. So her defense gets a ton of ground balls, and as long as they're making plays behind her, she's going to be set.
Off speed, Bagshaw out in front. The first baseman batting 6, 0 for 1 with a ground out. 30 RBI on the season. She's been very productive for Coach McFalls. Nobody in front of her right here. She's behind 0-2. Third consecutive batter that has fell behind 0-2.
When Lexi Kilfoyle gets ahead on these batters, it allows her to use all of her pitches, spin the ball, put it outside the zone, try to get the hitters to chase something, and it's likely they're going to make weak contact.
And that's exactly what happened there as Talon Edwards able to slide in front of it. And that is 12 in a row. The Cowgirls have retired after a couple of Stillwater Regional. I mean, you start looking at that and I know we're still a ways out from that, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but it's time to start thinking at least in some regard that way, because this is a team that has been to the College World Series 4 consecutive years, trying to make it 5, and they seem to be on a path to be headed in the right direction to make that happen yet again.
Yeah, and you just look at those projections. Obviously, a lot going to change between then and the actual selection show, but it said they had 7 Big 12 teams projected to get in, and that is huge for the conference, and that just shows you how competitive it has been this entire Big 12 season.
Undoubtedly it has been. And by the way, senior Scotland David, if you looked in the outlaw section, which is the second section from the left field wall or left field line, there are so many 3 hats out there, all of them wearing 3 for Scotland David. There is a bunch of them as she stays alive with the foul tip. 1 and 2 the count. And tons of support for Scotland David. She is truly one of the favorites in the clubhouse.
Yeah, and if you look, they actually a bunch of them have shirts on with Scotland David's picture on it. I just love that so much. I actually would love to have one of those. I want one of those. That's just awesome to see all the support for her and everything she's done here. 4
reconstructive knee surgeries. Kenny G said, hey, I really think you need to retire. You need to think long term. I admire your willingness, but maybe for the long term of your health. And she said, Coach, I am not going to do it. I am going to come back. I'm going to rehab again. And here she is in her senior campaign getting ready to wrap things up with Oklahoma State. What a badge of courage and resiliency. As you said, I think you said it earlier, or Coach said it maybe, when you're talking about the Cowgirl way, I mean, that she embodies it all. And she takes that one, then the count runs full. But she truly is the full package.
100%. Just one of those players that you don't come by often and has a huge impact on the Oklahoma State team. Just one of those players that brings that leadership, and a lot of girls just look up to her.
Draws the walk, fell behind 0-2, and then draws the walk and becomes a leadoff runner for the Cowgirls here in the bottom of the 4th. Nice at bat right there, and we go to the bottom of the order and bring in, as you see, DeRoche again. There's been 5 walks. She's only issued a couple of those. But you look at the Cowgirls, and we're going to have a pinch hitter for the Cowgirls. I mentioned the last time the Cowgirls had a grand slam. It was Lexi McDonald on April 6th against Houston here inside the stadium. We had a chance to see that hit. And she will come in and try to create some offense yet again for Oklahoma State. McDonald batting .333 on the season.
Yeah, Lexi McDonald is one of the hottest hitters in the Oklahoma State lineup right now. And a couple of players got shuffled around a little bit today, but it's good to see her getting a pinch hit opportunity. She's been so good this series so far and just has gotten better every single game.
And she takes strike 1. So, again, Scotland David, the left fielder, drew the walk. It's the 5th walk issued by Kansas pitchers today. Again, I mentioned this earlier, only a couple by DeRoche, but Cowgirls trying to add to a 5-1 lead here. Lexi McDonald, that's that one missed just off the outer part of the plate. McDonald, her 58th at bat on the season. She's got 3 home runs, including the aforementioned grand slam. Scotland David sees that one get by Moore, and Moore advances to second. And that will draw a visit from the dugout again of Kansas, and a little conversation going to be going on with DeRoche. This is more of a strategy meeting, or it would appear anyway, more than potential pitching change. And I got to cover up the mouth. That's part of the MO. Oklahoma State has trailed in all 3 games of this series. They came back and won the games, won a game 2. And, again, you were on a group that was very confident a year ago. The confidence of this team to know they can win a close game, they can win a blowout game, they can finish games, they can come from behind by games, they can hit home runs and win with the long ball, they can play small ball, they can face a team that plays small ball and play terrifically defensively. Again, this is a team, despite all the new faces, seems to have the complete ability to play whatever style you force them to play. They're willing and can play that kind of game.
I totally agree. This team, I feel like, has surprised a ton of people in the softball world. I think a lot of people coming into this year were saying, oh, they're rebuilding, they lost so much and whatnot, but they have just come out and proved everybody wrong.
Lexi McDonald hits one off the wall, foul by about 12 feet, but she just showed she's willing to go the opposite way if she needs to. And again, despite all the storms yesterday and very cloudy and kind of ominous looking today, the sun's supposed to come out and start to warm up. And the wind's starting to die down. That was not wind assisted at all. She drove that one hard into left field. Here's the 2-2. That one's, she turns on out in front of him, fouls the other way. So a 2-2 coming up here again. Pinch hit opportunity for McDonald. Pinch hitting for the shortstop, Megan Bloodworth. This is inside, 3-2. We haven't talked a lot about Kenny Gajewski's ejection on Friday night. And, you know, again, you said you never had a coach ejected when you played, so he never wasn't ejected last year. It's only the third time ever, but it had to do with a pitch clock situation, right? And not happy with the pitch clock and the lack of a foul or a strike called on it. And little gamesmanship maybe going on. And he took his opportunity to say what he needed to say. Got to watch the rest of the ball game from the clubhouse. Vanessa Shippey comes on. But as you talked about, Oklahoma State responded in a huge way, down 5-0, and came back and scored 6. I'd say it fired his team up.
Oh, definitely. And like you said, I think he was just arguing the timing of a batter coming into the batter's box and just the umpires not picking up on that a little bit, and then, you know, just kind of got into it. But definitely fired up the team and helped them fight back. And one of the coolest things for me to see was when he came back out onto the field after the game, all the girls just ran over and hugged him. I was like, that is awesome.
Well, it is. Lexi McDonald's having a terrific at-bat here, but you know, when you're a player and you know your head coach has your back, you know, he's going to coach the kids hard, but he's also going to hold other people accountable as well. And when you know your head coach has your back, that makes you want to run through brick walls for him. And I'd say this team would do that for him.
100%. And crazy enough, that was his 100th conference win, too. So he wasn't even there in the dugout for his 100th conference win, but the girls fought back and got that big win for him.
Great job. And Scotland David took off after the walk. Saw it in the dirt. She takes off, steals third. How about her? 4 reconstructed knee surgeries? She's not worried.
Yeah, being aggressive on the base paths and just moving up another 60 feet, getting closer to bringing on some more runs for the Cowgirls.
You could have, again, a lot of people think with a walk it's a dead ball. It's not. She took off, she's there, and we're going to have another pitching change. But so now the Cowgirls have runners at first and third. And the first pitch, this one, though, is out of the zone, and the Cowgirls will steal again. How about that? Cowgirls got a pinch runner in there for Lexi McDonald. And we'll try to catch that number. That may...
Yeah, it looks like they just subbed Megan Bloodworth back in.
That's what I thought, yeah. So Bloodworth came back in after Lexi got the walk. So Bloodworth re-entered and just stole second. Cowgirls now have runners at second and third. Scotland David got on with a walk. She stole second. She stole third. So 3 stolen bases here between those 2 runners. And Jillian Pollard with the home run has runners at second and third in a 2-0 count right here. Bruno, it's hit. It's hit deep. It's a souvenir into the gift shop. Sound the horn. Home run, Oklahoma State, and that one all the way over the gift shop. They'll have to climb over to get that souvenir, and back-to-back home runs for Jillian Pollard.
How about Jillian Pollard on her senior day, going off, back-to-back home runs. This pitch from Bruno is just up in the zone, and Jillian Pollard knows right away off the bat that ball was crushed and just...
And the Cowgirls lead at 8-1. Jillian Pollard just hit her 6th home run of the year, and that's only the 3rd that Bruno has given up all year long. And that brings up Talon Edwards. Back-to-back walks. Bases are clear. 7-run lead for Oklahoma State.
Such an awesome moment for her with her, her senior day. All of her family is here getting to see that. And just to go off on your senior day is something so special.
She's the 4th Cowgirl this year to hit multiple home runs in a game. And again, that we talked about the power all the way up and down for this lineup. As the off-speed to Edwards misses, and the 3-0 count to her. Well, the Cowgirls held scoreless through the first 2, and they have put up some crooked numbers in the last couple. 3-0 in there for a called strike. 3-1. Jillian Pollard was trying to find that spot, came in for Talon Edwards at third when she was hurt, did her job, and earned that center field starting job, and has been in the lineup ever since, and she has made the absolute most of it. Another walk for Talon Edwards. She's had 3 of those today. Still nobody gone. 1 on for Oklahoma State. And that brings up Caroline Wong.
And with no outs, this is looking like a scary situation for Kansas and their defense. Caroline Wong, Carly Godwin, Rosie Davis, all likely still going to hit in this inning, and just those 3 have so much power, and they're so consistent.
And there's a strike. You talked about her first pitch strike count and percentage, and that time she goes right at Caroline Wong. And Cowgirls will get a pinch runner into the ball game for Talon Edwards. And that'll bring in Anderson. Taylor Anderson out of Dripping Springs, Texas, will come in and run for Kenny Gajewski, as he's done all year long, done a fantastic job of utilizing the speed in the dugout. And they have manufactured a ton of runs with that speed. Hit line drive into right. Coming back will be Anderson, as Linduff was able to make that catch. And there is 1 gone now in the bottom of the 4th. Caroline Wong is 1 for 2 with that walk, and that'll bring up the home run hitter. So far, the home runs today have come from other areas, but Carly Godwin can definitely throw it over the fence at any point. She ripped that one hard down the third base side, but foul. That is she's already an aggressive swinger, but knowing 57% of the time that first pitch from Bruno is going to be a strike, she was sitting on that one ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. And seeing that pitch in the monitor, I kind of saw it coming down the middle of the plate. I was a little scared, but I think it was a little off speed, so Carly Godwin pulling that one foul, but definitely being aggressive early in this count.
That one a little up and away. Godwin just been so special. You just can't say enough about what the freshman season has been for her, and enjoy these while you can, because you're going to look up and it's going to be 4 years later. And Taylor Anderson got undercut there by Bagshaw, but Bagshaw just tried to get Tagger on the throw and got underneath her a little bit. Anderson fortunately got her plant foot away, not to be hurt there. And the count 1-2 to Godwin. Here's the 1-2. That one's off the plate. This is not uncommon for Oklahoma State this season to have multiple home runs in a game.
Yeah, Oklahoma State has had 3 or more home runs in 15 games this season, which is insane. I think that's like a third of their games. They've just had so much power throughout their lineup this season.
They have indeed, and Taylor Anderson will try to get the steal. Boy, I tell you what, great job by, first off, Moore. Cripe to come across and catch it on the run and lay down the tag, and able to get Taylor Anderson out. About 2 steps in front of the bag here.
Yeah, great throw by Lyric Moore, and Cripe, the shortstop, having to come across the bag a little bit, make that tag. They're such a good runner, so that's a really impressive play.
Godwin spins on another, runs it foul into the left field, and yeah, we're talking about terrific speed by Anderson. But Lyric Moore has got a terrific arm as well. And she hit Kripe on the run, hit her in stride. And Kripe did a great job of catching, putting on the tag. And now 2 gone with a 3-2 count to Godwin. That one's fouled back into the stands. Lots of spin. Get out of that way of that one. Eight-1 lead. All those runs coming off of 4 hits by Oklahoma State. And all runs coming in the last 2 innings. Carly Godwin draws the walk. That's come to roost and been a problem for the Kansas pitchers today. They've given way too many walks, and those walks have been coming around. Again, the Cowgirls have scored 8 runs off of just 4 hits. And no errors, by the way, for Kansas.
And exactly what you said. They have 5 walks that have come around and kind of bit them and scored. And it's hard when you're facing a lineup like Oklahoma State because you want to keep the ball on the corners of the zone, and then when you do that, sometimes you expand a little bit and you start giving up those walks, but you also don't want to give Oklahoma State any free passes and help them out.
5 walks have scored. There have been 8 walks overall, but 5 of them have scored, and that's pretty amazing. So, I mean, that's a pretty good rate of return for the Cowgirls off of those that have been able to walk. Cowgirls will get a pinch runner over there first. That's Sophie Page. And Rosie Davis, who's 0 for 2, will try to put the potential run rule run across. Off speed in there for a strike. 0-2 to Davis. Davis popped out, flied out, and looking for her first hit today. 0-2 called strike, and there's a strikeout for Kansas. Only the second strikeout that they've had all year long. But the damage for Oklahoma Central, if you're a Big 12 fan, you got to have it. Sign up to watch at ESPNplus.com/Big 12 to catch all of the action. And you don't need ESPN Plus for you right now because you'll be there, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm so excited to go back to Hall of Fame Stadium. And I just think it's awesome that the tournament is there. There's so much culture and history there. It's an awesome place and a super cool environment to play in.
You, in fact, were going to forego your graduation, right?
Yes.
So that you can be at said Big 12 tournament.
That's right. And honestly, I think it's going to be worth it.
Well, you've walked already, right? You've had a chance to walk at Purdue in your undergrad, but congratulations on getting your MBA. And, I don't know what your future holds. Broadcasting, engineering, business, entrepreneurship, coaching. I mean, you are about as well-rounded an individual coming through 5-6 years of school that I've ever seen. So that's going to be fun to see what you do.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We hope you will come back and see us next year is what we're hoping is. Tatum strikes out, and Lexi Kilfoyle just picks up right where she left off last inning.
Yeah, Lexi Kilfoyle just attacking Tatum here, putting that ball right on the outer corner. I don't think that's even on the plate, but just a perfect pitcher's pitch. 0-2, exactly where you want to be throwing the ball, just close enough to get the batter to swing, and just great job by Lexi Kilfoyle.
Third strikeout of the day. And hey, real quickly, while we've got a moment, this morning was the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon, and yesterday I was in Oklahoma City and I went to the Memorial Museum for the first time. Never been there. Lived the Oklahoma City bombing. I was on air when it happened, covered it for many years, or many weeks, I should say, days right afterwards, and of course talked about it for many, many years. I'd never been to the memorial. Incredible. If you want to know about the resilience of Americans in Oklahoma, I invite you to go there. Again, the marathon was this morning, but you said you and your family went there a year ago, and you were only 5 when it happened, but it's amazing just what you learn when you go through that memorial.
Definitely. Me and my family went there last year when we were in Oklahoma City, and I was so moved by the memorial. It's just a horrible event that happened, but they put together an amazing memorial for it.
Absolutely, as that one is hit by Flanagan just past Edwards, and that'll be a base hit to get Kansas going here a little bit in the top of the fifth. Nice job right there as the Jayhawks will go to the 9-hole hitter. Angela Price, the center fielder. Again, having been there, lived it, and seen it and remembered it, but forgot just some of the emotion of it. And what they do is walk you through the events of the tragedy, then through the trial, and to see the memorial again. Today with the marathon happening, you just thought that was worth mentioning. And if you're an Oklahoman and you've been, even if you were too young to remember it, but if you do and haven't been there, it's an absolutely incredible facility, and will take you back to some emotions you don't necessarily want to have to remember, but it is such a terrific place for sure. Kansas starting to come alive here in the top of the fifth. Back-to-back singles, the 8-hole and the 9-hole, with runners now at first and second, and Kansas trying to put together a little run here.
And Angela Price going with that pitch, shooting it out into right field, and she has been amazing this series for Kansas. She went 3 for 3 off Lexi Kilfoyle in game 1, and I don't think I've seen anybody do that off Lexi Kilfoyle this whole year. Anyone that can get 3 hits off Lexi Kilfoyle is doing something right. So that's an amazing accomplishment for her.
Tip of the hat for sure, that is saying something. And so Lexi Kilfoyle done a great job. You know, it's amazing though when you look at Lexi Kilfoyle's numbers. With runners on, she's only giving up a batting average of 146. So you can get on occasionally, but it's rare that you're going to have back-to-back or stringing out and putting up big numbers against her, because she has been phenomenal all year long. Throw down to second. Lexi let that one go. I'm not sure Rosie knew it was coming initially, but as Caroline Wong tries to throw one behind Flanagan. And the count 2-1 here. We're back at the top of the order. And Limbaugh.
And I think that, like you said, that her ability to not be fazed by runners getting on base goes back to her composure and her experience and her confidence in the circle. It doesn't matter what's going on in the game. She is going to just be such an intimidating presence on the mound and throw her stuff.
Cowgirls look for a double play. They won't get it, so reaching on a fielder's choice is Limbaugh. The runner headed to second, though. Price is out. Flanagan is safe at third, and Limbaugh will be at first. So runners on the corners now with 2 gone. And that'll bring up Ainsley Linduff, the right fielder, who had that RBI single in the first. Flied out to right field in the third. And 2 gone here. So Kansas trying to put a little pressure on Oklahoma State to get any kind of a run rule thought going on in the bottom of the fifth. Still got some work to do here as Linduff is behind now 0-1. And now 0-2. She's just not, I mean, again, you see the numbers there on Limbaugh, 1 for 2. She's just going to come after you. She is just not going to give you any relief. She's not going to throw you a lot of bad pitches. Lexi Kilfoyle is one of the reasons why her numbers are so good, is that one's a little low. Good job by Wong trying to frame it, but a little bit out of the zone there. 1-2 with 2 gone, runners on the corners. 5 hits on the day for Kansas. Cowgirls have been out hit 5-4. That one is hit, backhanded by Bloodworth. Throw over the first, down the line, but in time, and the Cowgirls out of trouble. Another 0 on the board. That's 4 consecutive. The Cowgirls take an 8.
Up by 8-1. It'll be tough for Kansas to overcome that deficit, but Claire Tim definitely just kick-starting that momentum shift.
That is her 7th home run of the year. Again, it was a grand slam, and at that point made the game 5-1. Cowgirls scored 3 more in the bottom of the fourth to get the 8-1 lead, and trying to wrap things up here early. That one is hit into left center. Coming over is Limbaugh, and Limbaugh able to make the catch. So that brings up Michaela Warwick. And, you know, it seems, and I may be wrong on this, I didn't see, the games on Friday. Did not get a chance to call those games as you did. But she kind of seems due to me.
Yeah, she definitely does. I think she's had, you know, some good contact just right at people. And I'm sure, you know, one of these next few at-bats, she's just going to get right back at it.
Well, I mean, again, she's just such a big hitter. She has had 8 home runs on the season. She's had a really good year. She had, again, the freshman's record up until this year. But she's one we know that she is very capable. I mean, finding herself higher up in the lineup as well. And what she is able to do is give them great power in the bottom of the lineup. So I think she is 1 for 4 coming into this series. 1 for 6 now on the series overall. And there's a strike on the 2-0 count.
I think she also got hit by a couple of pitches, and just that weekend before, too, against Tech, took us so many walks. So she's also been doing her part on that side, just getting on base any way that she can.
Yeah, no, she had 3 straight walks in that ball game that you were talking about, at least one of the games against Texas Tech, and she was able to walk much of that series. And you're right. I guess that's probably the part that feels due. Somebody's going to have to start pitching to her, right? Because you start getting yourself in a situation where there's too many batters to pitch around anybody. But she has done a good job of being very disciplined. With a 2-2, misses high. It's 3-2. So a 3-2 count here, and the Kansas fans trying to keep Oklahoma State from finishing the deal here in the bottom of the 5th. Cowgirl fans trying to cheer on the Cowgirls to get that run rule victory. That one is fouled. Past the third baseman Flanagan into the outfield. Limbaugh will have to retrieve it. And the social, again, applauding the efforts. Well, I tell you what, it doesn't matter where. There's nowhere to hide in that outfield from this Oklahoma State Cowgirl crowd. That one is off the glove of Flanagan, and the Cowgirls have a base runner on. Just past Flanagan's glove into left field.
Yeah, great swing by Michaela Warwick. She gets the off speed and waits back on it just enough and just punches it off the third baseman's hole.
And the Cowgirls will use some more speed as Bruno was trying to find some outs, and Warsop will come on for Oklahoma State to pinch run. And that will set things up for Scotland David, the left fielder. Terrific speed, drew a walker last time up. She's 0 for 1 with that walk. Both teams now with 5 hits, and that one off the glove. Warsop will move up. So a pass ball there on Lyric Moore. And the Cowgirls now have the winning run at second. Could Scotland on senior day walk one off?
She totally could. Yeah, looking good for the Cowgirls with the runner in scoring position now.
The seniors have been big today. That one is fouled to Bagshaw, and Warsop will have to return to second. 0 for 1 with a fly out the walk, batting 190 this season. By the way, we got a chance to congratulate one more time former Cowgirl Lauren Bay, who is going to be in the Hall of Honor at Oklahoma State, one of the former great Cowgirl players. Pitched for the Cowgirls from 2000 to 2003, first team All-American, Big 12 Player of the Year her senior season, and more great accolades for current and former Cowgirl softball players. 1-2 to David. Hit deep. It's deep. And it is dropped. And Scotland David is going to walk it off for Oklahoma State on senior day. And here comes her teammate.